What was this? This sound is actually a sound from an AMG GTR V8. But it's put here in this vehicle here, this very fast yellow canary bird, which is trying to steal customers from both the Porsche Taycan and the Porsche Panamera. What is this? This is actually the all-new Mercedes AMG GT 4-door with 1,160 horsepower, 2.4 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour from standstill, 6.8 seconds to 200 kilometers an hour to 125 miles an hour. And there are even more facts and figures coming up. 600 kilowatt charging, so this is going all the way out on every kind of scale. And we're going to take you on an extensive tour, exterior, interior and technology, now with Thomas Nautical Fuel in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. And we can see here this dual light phase, so to speak, the digital light main unit with a Mercedes star design. And then optionally you can get the lighting pack, which has this combination in here from left to right, this, this light strip. And then you also get the illuminated front grille in this vertical AMG design. And yeah, as I said, this is here their new electric fighter, so to speak, and it has jet figures. And at the same time, they also bring back this concept of sound emulation. You can hear both on the outside and on the inside, and also a similar concept which we know from the Hyundai Ioniq 5N and 6N, that you have a real shifting emulation, and that really the power is cut at a certain point, that you really have like the shifting effect. And this also carries Formula One technology, especially in the battery cells, because they use a special cooling which they learned in F1. And here they use a battery of a capacity of 106 kilowatt hours net. Of course, large battery, and supposed to give you also really long-term range. As soon as we can drive it for you, we can of course tell you more about that. And more special is of course the charging. The flap will be coming on the other side very soon. Here in the side profile, you can see this super sleek profile, direct successor to the AMG GT 4-door, which so far was a combustion engine, was also available as like a performance plug-in hybrid. Now all electric, super flat here and very sculptural and sensual here, this side profile. A matte paint it is as well. And then you also use active aerodynamics in the front. That goes like, as you maybe know from the AMG GT, it's like a bars going down, like with sealed with rubber. And then it's the same happens here along the side. It goes down 3 centimeters, and just by the pressure of the air, it getting sucked down to the ground up to 6 centimeters. And the faster you go, the more these aerodynamics play a role. The same also goes here for the rear wing. It goes up, then the faster you go, basically. And a very unique rear signature here with these round lamps, and that also dates back to some past performance models at Mercedes. And once again with this star design, they recently play a lot here with the star pattern even more. This one in here, a true AMG model, but still carrying the Mercedes star. Here, in this case, the GT63 with the best acceleration figures with this 1,160 horsepower peak. There will also be a 55 model, which has like a software lock to not be that fast, and then a little bit cheaper in the entry price, cheaper if you want to say so, so far. And very dramatic also from this high gloss lower part. This is also equipped with the driver's package, which has like certain features, and for example also the unlock of the VMAX to 300 kilometers an hour or 186 miles per hour. At the same time, you can see here CD value at 0.22. So this is not only a race car, so to speak, but can also be very efficient then on the motorway. It looks pretty cool in the scooter. Leah's hair is flying a little bit. And also interesting here, you can see like with the mirror here, then you can also see us both. So yeah, thanks to Leah again. We've been filming so many days now, in succession. So also like really tough on her, but we will always try to deliver you the best experience. And you can see here also there's this Autobahn bridge, like this German Autobahn bridge. We have the Autobahn setup, and there's a so-called Ausfahrt sign, like the exit sign on the right side. This is then here the very famous German Autobahn unlimited speed sign. So when you see this sign, it means hammer the throttle, of course, as long as everyone is safe. You know, that's very important. And I know that you always like to follow our channel because we do extensive Autobahn parts as well. Yeah, and they claim themselves that this AMG is also Autobahn proof. And yeah, looking at that, I think that could work with the German Autobahn. This one here is also equipped, this is, for example, standard in Germany, with the carbon fiber roof. We can see it right here, bringing down the weight in the top, because always good to have the weight in the lower part of the vehicle. This one also has the option of the carbon ceramic brakes, really large, and this is also equipped with the 21-inch wheels. The smaller model, in asterisk, starts at 19 and then 20-inch for the 63 model, and this one here, the optional largest available 21-inch, because in the studio they always like to show off, of course. Then we have here the charging flap, because this is another technology highlight. This one has only 11 kilowatt AC charging. I was wondering about that, and they said, yeah, our customers don't charge 22 kilowatt anyways. I'm not sure about that, but they focus on the DC charging, and the DC charging is actually at 600 kilowatt peak, and that means from 10 to 80% state of charge with a 106 kilowatt hour battery is just 11 minutes. That is really top notch. The problem here is finding the right charging station which can actually cope with that, and that will be the tricky thing about that. And on the other hand, if you find the proper charging station, you can charge 70 kilowatt hours in 10 minutes. Yeah, that shows again, by the way, you can hear give it a small tap to close this electric charging flap again. And of course, when you put in the gear and want to drive off, it would also close itself actually. You also have seen probably already that we have here the door handles which have this flush integration, and then, they are manual at least. I'm more a friend of the real door handles, but yeah, at least I appreciate that they can be moved manually when they come towards you and greet you. But yeah, I will still keep fighting for the real door handles. By the way, here the windows, they also have the lamination, frameless, yes, because it's this 4-door coupe design, but also lamination, that it's also soundproof on the Autobahn. Let's see about, so either a soft close, but also when we slam it, good door closing sound. That sounds cool. Also gets the nod from Leah. The rear is not with the lamination though, but sounds even better just from that sound experience. Yeah, very nice studio setup here, as I said. Yeah, glass roof would be an alternative if you don't want the carbon fiber roof, if you just want to, look to the sky, basically. Yeah, extremely expressive rear design. How do they get all this power to the ground? The concept is 3 electric motors. So we have 2 electric motors at the rear. That's why you also can do an active torque vectoring. And in there are different driving modes available. And in the, when you turn off the ESC, which is completely possible here, you should only do that in a closed circuit, of course, or like in a controlled non-street, non-Autobahn environment. But if you turn off the ESC, then you can also play with some levers I'm going to show you that really change how the traction goes, or that you get even more power on the curved outer wheel, that you can drift it around and so on. So you can literally also play around with this vehicle. Most, however, will use it as a grand tourer. This is also why they focus both Porsche Taycan customers, coming from electric, but also Porsche Panamera, because look at that size here. We are here at 201 inches. Someone forgot to close the window here, actually. Is it? No, it's properly up. So we are here at 201 inches or 5 meters and 9. And that is rather the Panamera spectrum than the Taycan spectrum. Yeah, so let's see about that. Would be looking forward to your comments there as well. And of course, so far AMG GT customers, which then maybe can be convinced to go electric here as well. It's also equipped with an air suspension, and if you have the 63 model, you also get an anti-roll system, so like a stabilization that really always stays upright. And the air suspension, of course, adjustable by driving mode. Inside of the doors, you can see everything is wrapped here. This also has these contour stitches in yellow. You don't have to get that. You can. This is seat control. Then you can also optionally get the Burmester sound system. We know that's always delivering a great job. This is here the inside door handle, by the way. Was a very interesting solution. And then some carbon fiber cover, different decor elements available. and 4 window levers. We always gotta mention that we have that. And this is also, it's covered. It's not just black plastic here, for example, in the lower part. AMG entry badge. The same goes for the floor mats. And then we still have a lot of high gloss black here in the screen system. You see, the digital instruments are kind of small in relation, I would take it that way. This is here this turbine vent style for that. Steering wheel can also be bought here with the microfiber side and carbon fiber on the top. That's actually pretty fancy in this 2-spoke AMG style. Then you have the rocker and roller, left side cruise control, right side for the volume. This is for the shifting. You can also pull both pedals and you have a special boost for a short period of time. And as I said, you can use this for shifting in the Sport Plus mode, for example, and then you have the sound emulation, and you can really do it like we've recently shown to you in the Ioniq 6N or the 5N, that you really go like, something like that, approximately. But you already heard the sound, and I can also give you some more revving up very soon. Seats, either you get standard sport seats with microfiber on the inside, Artico leatherette on the outside. Optional, this is here the performance seat, which has even more bolstering. In this case, because you have the yellow stitches, they don't use Artico on the outside, but animal skin. No one could actually tell. I just asked them about it, and that's what they did. Doesn't make much sense. And of course, you have to think about these performance seats are good for the racetrack, but they're of course less comfortable. You know, they cage you in more, so for cornering is better. But I would rather advise you to stick with the normal standard sport seats, because they just have more seating depth. You know, because let's be honest, not so many customers will take this one on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, although you surely could. More customers will say, I want a great performance car, but I will do motorway driving and so on, and maybe just take it as an everyday cruiser with gives a lot of emotion. Then here, steering wheel up and down, in and out, electric control. Standard also here then, for example, for the indicators and for the light, right side to put in the gears here, and also P on the right side, so that's easy control. And you have additional elements on the steering wheel. Here, this, for example, where you can go to ESC Sport or ESC Off when you hold it. And on the right side, you then have comfort mode, sport mode, or...
Whoa.
Yeah, Leah was...
Second time now.
she already knew that, but simply because it's not only here on the inside, and also on the outside. So both, you've maybe seen it initially, and then I can also rev it up here, like here. We know it from the Ioniq 6N and the Ioniq 5N, but this one here is like an even more elaborated combustion engine sound. They had like 16 microphones equipped with a GTR, recording that V8 and so many times, putting everything together in the algorithm and then replicating it. And I mean, if I wouldn't know this is an electric vehicle, you couldn't actually. This is, maybe you don't have the vibration, at least when standing still, but even that, when you put it in D mode, then you will even have a vibration in the seat for that. So they even thought of that.
Your neighbor will say, no, that's not an electric vehicle.
Yeah, your neighbors will say like, Thomas got an electric vehicle now. What is this? You know, so this might spark a lot of discussion indeed among your neighbors. When they think, finally he got rid of his V8, now everything is silent again, and then you start up in the morning at S Plus and they're like, good morning everyone. Oh, here, the start-stop was activated, you know. That's why the engine shut off now, the electric motor, yeah. As I said, one electric motor in the front, 2 in the rear, and then you can get all the traction here on the ground. And, looking forward to drive it very soon. And here with 189, 6'2", there's a lot of headroom left. This one also has the beautiful microfiber sealing, together also with microfiber covering then of the sun visor and so on. And there's of course even more to discover here in the cockpit, because they have indeed unique features here in this vehicle. And rear seats and trunk is still to come, because this is not a concept. You know, we had this concept of the AMG GT XX, but this is the series production vehicle, which should also be used for luggage and, you know, rear. Can I actually sit in the rear? Looking forward to that. This vehicle is so full of facts and figures and technology stuff that I really have to be gentle with you, you know, that you can take it all in, what it actually is all equipped with. So one more thing before we concentrate on the interior, which is, let's say, maybe a little bit easier to digest. It also gets rear axle steering. The rear wheels turn in the opposite direction, the front wheels up to 6 degrees. That's actually quite a lot for such a sporty vehicle, and that, although it has a long wheelbase, will make it pretty agile. Now to the screen setup. 14-inch main infotainment, but here from the side as Leah is filming, you also get a huge passenger screen already with a Nordschleife background here, and obviously you don't have to pay extra for it. Right, Audi? Yeah, follow our recent Audi reviews and you'll know what I mean. And here also you get the turbine vent here on the right side. You have the additional Burmester speakers on the top part. Here everything is covered. And then this is more like this driver focus, turn everything towards me. That's also film the screens then from my side very soon from the driver's perspective. But this really gives like the message, hey, this is like a driver's car. Oh, by the way, here, these performance seats, they can really like, let's say, have these ventilation holes from the rear. Hello. Oh, yeah. So every father of pretty young children will now know where I'm going to go with this argument. The kids will enjoy that. You know what I mean, you know, so they will have, yeah, they will have a laugh with that, definitely. Then here, inductive charging pad, left and right, is also ventilated. You have one button selector here. There you can also change the driving modes, but you can also do it at the steering wheel, and I'll soon show you more in the infotainment. One roller here also for the volume, that's cool. I have now here one, and also the steering wheel. 4-dot cup holder design and round styling. The key fob also gets an AMG logo, and then I have these special gauges here. For example, I can change the throttle response. So that means, there's also an interesting visualization, and that really depends on if you want to have it slow when parking in, that you can, you know, press it through, or if you want to be like, this is, however you like it. And the other ones are agility and traction. This is cool feedback, by the way, you know, so there's a lot of fun to turn them around, even though when it doesn't do anything, because these two are only active, as I said earlier, when the ESC is off, the electronic stability control. Furthermore, you can also press these buttons, and they have a good pressing feedback. And I asked the AMG guys, what does the pressing of these buttons actually do? And they said, nothing. So this is actually then, I mean, they're fun to press. So, or maybe again for the kids or something, that they, you know, when they show this car steadily off to their friends, they can go press some buttons. Maybe they can also add another function later or something with over-the-air updates. Let's see about that. Split armrest here, also soft for your elbow. Then you have some space underneath and 2 USB-C chargers. I already see 2 more USB-C chargers there in the rear, and that looks dark and a little bit cramped in the rear. I'm looking forward to if I will still have any space there. But here now I can show you some of the like more driver-focused features. That looks weird there with the mirror, right? Then here the driver POV with the steering wheel. Yeah, I really appreciate the rolling of the volume and so on. This is still capacitive BS though, to change the instruments, so I'm not too happy about that, because sometimes I'm mistaken in what you scroll up or down and so on. And then you have here the drive mode selector. Now the ignition said goodbye, so there we go again. Then you also have this animation, and then here you can switch through the different modes. On the other side then ESC control, or also like suspension, but it also switches according to the driving modes, and you can see it here also in the main infotainment unit. And you can also, for example, just change the suspension and leave the sound like it is. And you also have a different sound emulation in the normal modes.
Was cool.
Wait a minute. Here, like here, you will also have in driving, let's say, the not extreme sound, but some sound visualization. What do you want to like the this one?
Yeah, here.
Yeah, like these
This is nice, yeah.
These they also have these special electric motor technology, a completely new kind of electric motor, supposed to give you great performance and efficiency. We'll explain more of that in driving. And this is the climate unit. Sadly, no physical dials, all in the screen. Yeah, maybe I would have just taken like one dial. Kind of have this one here as a climate dial or something, instead of something I will only use when ESC is off. Just a suggestion, guys, or what do you think? So this is all the AMG modes, because here in the main infotainment unit, this once again here the Nürburgring Nordschleife background. again, which obviously comes as standard. But I mean, it's also an expensive car. No, don't wonder about that. AMG performance, track-based, when you really want to record lap times and so on, and the rest is then like the usual Mercedes settings. Here, for example, then you can also deactivate the acoustic warning. I just wonder, I mean, I think it looks stunning from the rear, but the front here with this does remind me a little bit of a frog. Or what do you think? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, and then you can see here again that this is leant towards me, and that I cannot. Is there something something to discover, or
Looks like a mundharmonica.
oh, like a music instrument, you know, like interesting. Yeah.
I thought maybe you can. No.
No. I mean, that would be cool.
That
Like
would be cool,
if that would move, actually. Oh, there's a. Have you seen that one? Here's a special button for the glove box, right there. Well, I mean, small glove box, yes, but I really like that button here for the glove box. So it's a nice attention to detail, definitely. And here also is this, let's say, chrome or aluminum style. So I don't see too much simple black plastic here. Just again, like the bezels are really large, especially like here, this area. So this has been criticized with both Audi and Mercedes quite often recently, and I think also, yeah, I do share this opinion here, by the way, once again with the headroom, and you can see some more of the ceiling. From the seating position, one more thing to mention before I get to the rear. You do have an electric vehicle. There's the battery as a sandwich concept in the lower floor, and then that's the thing, when you have long legs, they have to go somewhere. Okay, it's rather flat, but you still feel there's a battery underneath, you know. I have enough headroom and so on, but still, at the same time, I would have imagined that it's less comfortable. So considering how flat the car looks like and that the battery's on the floor and that we do have these performance seats, let's say it's more comfortable than I would have expected. But with the normal sport seats, you'll have more seating depth. And maybe you've seen that here, this AMG logo is also illuminated in the seat. That of course also looks quite cool. But now I really want to know if you can have more fun at my expense when I'm pretty much cramped there in the rear. What do you think, guys? Shall we try? Have you at some point watched some documentary, you know, with these famous physics guys about black holes and stuff and gravity theory and everything? I did actually, and I was always quite fascinated. And I'm just thinking about the black hole that sucks all the light in and never gives it away anytime, But still, I mean, there's a little bit more space than I would have expected. It's a long car, but still, this fits still for tall adults. And I really gotta say that these rear seats are definitely more comfortable than these performance sport seats. So it's actually not too bad. And the reason for that is, first of all, the seating depth here, as I said, is better than on the performance seats in the front. So this is the one thing. You do fall back here quite a lot, yes, but then again, you gain some headroom, that it still works here in the headroom. And there's a special thing for electric vehicles. Wait a minute, which other vehicle does that? Having foot garages in an electric vehicle. Ah, yeah, a Porsche Taycan. About that. And here you can see it actually. There is this kind of like middle tunnel, and then you have here more space for your feet, because the problem, especially in the rear, is always with electric vehicles, that your feet are almost like at your ears when you have long legs, you know. But here it's fairly okay, and you're getting caged in a little bit. So actually, I'm positively surprised. I could sit here as a tall adult, indeed. You can have this one, by the way, as a 4-seater. Then you have like this, this bulge here. And you can also have the 5-seater here, and the seat bench would go through. And you can also here put down the ski hatch already. That would be possible. And sometimes you have to use the force, young Padawan. And then here, you can also fold this one down or the other side. And that directly also leads us over to the trunk. Oh, here, this climate unit. This is, of course, from a... honestly, I hate these one-button things. You know, that everything is one button.
Looks a little bit cheap, yeah. Yeah,
that is a little bit weirder, right? But at least it gives you some feedback. Now the question is, can I also probably get out again without, looking awkward? Yeah, I think. that's quite okay. So yeah, definitely better than expected. Now let's check out the trunk or the boot. And of course the question is, there it is. That looks cool, right? Wow. So this is literally a fastback, a fastback. Look at that. I mean, have you seen this? I mean, now when there's like more light coming from the top, the rear here almost looks like a classic Mercedes front grille, doesn't it? That is interesting. And then you have like this step in the trunk right there underneath. Maybe space for the charging cable, and of course I also want to check out if it has a frunk or not. And then we have this cover here, and this you can also install then here in the top parts like this. That automatically goes up and down together then when you close or open the trunk. And of course it wouldn't be an autogefühl video without the ruler. So first of all, even if it doesn't look like that, the lid here would still close when the cabintronic is like this. And then we have 1.40 meters in width. We also have more, let's say it's here, the longest part is like 1 meter 10, 44 inches. And the overall length is, I mean, it's a long car. Wow, almost the full ruler fits in here. So like 75 inches, 1 meter 90. And yeah, the height is, it depends, let's say, there is a highest point there, but maybe I measure this middle point here, which is here about like 45 inches, no, sorry, that would be great, right? 18 inches or 45 centimeters. Highest point here, this is more like 62 centimeters, 24, 25 inches. Of course, a little bit limited because of this form, but I mean, for 2-3 people, this trunk I think is still enough, not too much in height. But that's also the main focus of this car. However, it is enough to house tall adults and also plus luggage. I think that's actually quite clear. I'm actually the biggest fan of the rear this time. Honestly, gotta say that with the, yeah. I mean, not Leah, not.
Like the front more, yeah.
Leah likes the front and not the rear. Interesting. I mean, with the electric C-Class, I like the front, but not so much the rear. But this time, I even thought about if I should maybe start the video like the rear and then maybe also seeing this Autobahn stuff there in the front, because you can also see it in the mirror there in the back. I think like these, you know, like these, like how the lamps have this this bulge on the top. I'm not so sure about that. And I also can close the doors again. I also thought a little bit about when we had like the initial launch of the Mercedes CLA. I think the problem there, and the same goes here with the design language, is that you basically have two light units. You have this one light unit in the top part, and then you have the grille. And I think the grille looks very stunning. So I honestly would have maybe limited it to one of these elements and not make it two. Yeah, there is this one thing I still want to work on. That is the possible frunk, because you maybe remember from the recent Mercedes GLC EQ that Mercedes has introduced this mechanism that you can actually press the logo and then the frunk is opening. You still have to unlock it. It's a very practical feature. And then you remember the Porsche solution, which actually goes with the key fob or also with swiping in the front. So let's see if they went for the Mercedes or for the Porsche solution here. Yeah, it's the Porsche solution. So swiping is actually enough, and then you have to unlock it here one more time. The frunk is not too large, but it can definitely house a charging cable where you then can charge at only 11 kilowatt AC. Yeah, of course. I mean, the 600 kilowatt DC charging station, if there will be some existing in the near future, they will have the integrated cable anyway, you know, but you can still carry one around, of course. Honestly, with this opening closing mechanism, I think I think this logo press is, to me, was actually cooler, you know, because you also have like this interaction with the vehicle, you know. So I actually prefer that solution they have in the GLC EQ. But that was maybe another feature where they said like, come on, Taycan customers, you maybe feel at home then, or Macan, of course, has that as well. Yeah, and now the big question is, maybe you can answer that as well. If you are a Taycan customer, if you are a Panamera customer, or also if you are an AMG GT four-door so far combustion engine customer, would you switch here to the all-new electric supercar solution from Mercedes? Looking forward to that. One more note, these acceleration figures, they were always from standstill. They give out the rolling figures and the standstill, but because also in the combustion world, we have always given the standstill acceleration figures, I also, at least for now, want to continue with these figures here. So yeah, very impressive what we've seen here so far. Now it's time to check out these mentioned Porsche competitors, and looking forward to your feedback.